Hello, I'm Chylli from channel Chylli, also known as Chai, and we are back with more depersonalization. Alright, it's actually been a few days since I last recorded here, so sometimes I like to record a bunch of things to just have them ready to go. But then I start getting lazy and then I don't do anything for a while. Alright, so anyway, let's get into Moonshade Monolith here. Blackfield Research Lab is dedicated to the preservation and research of every species of life on Earth, humans included. A mayday call from the Graymatter site arrived at its HQ early this morning. However, before the site plunged into utter silence, you, an experienced investigator, will be digging into the uncanny story behind the accident with other experts. Alright, well, let's just get right into it then. I think we should be good here. Actually, before we get into this here, I wanted to change around my mythos items really quickly. Alright, then we can swap out the plasma gun for... We can swap it for the orb so we summon the spider monster at the start of each battle. I think that's a pretty good idea. In the heart of the jungle stands a tent. Within this dimly lit space, a stalwart figure opens the projector. Its flickering lights casting fractures of the shadows. He stands beside the illuminated screen, attentively observing the team members seated on chairs. You could feel his gaze momentarily landing upon you, before shifting away to the corner where you silently reside. Mikhail Kozlov, your captain during the investigation. Let's cut to work, shall we? Helene, the briefings, if you would. A woman stands up from the back row and distributes the briefings to everyone. Operation name Moonshade, location Graymatter site. At 3:23 a.m. last night, HQ received an emergency call from the Graymatter site reporting an ongoing attack on the facility. Subsequent attempts to establish communication with the Graymatter site have proven unsuccessful. Considering the severity of the situation, an immediate investigation is crucial to determine both the current status of the site and the underlying cause behind this alarming incident. Listen, investigate the cause of the incident. Retrieve the data from the site and prevent possible leaks. Attention! In light of the current situation, lethal weapons are authorized for use in this operation. However, it is imperative that all units adhere strictly to the safety code and follow instructions from their superiors to ensure the successful execution of the operation while minimizing risks to personnel. You finish skimming through the briefings as your eyes wander to the paper to learn more about your teammates. Burr's watchful gaze has them fixated on his. Seems you owe him a self-introduction. After gathering the others' attention with 2 muffled coughs, you give out your name. To put it short, I'm here to assist with the investigation under Blackfield's assignment. You notice the paper in Bird's hand, which he takes a quick glance at. It's your personal profile. I just heard from the HQ about you, Consolan. And it seems you'll be joining us at the site. I'm sure they've told you it's the captain who's in charge of everything here. Bird outlines captain and in charge in its speech. He's a man of authority, and patiently, he isn't shying away from it. I guess I'll consent. I mean, why not? He is the leader here after all. My assignment specified to follow your orders and advise only when necessary. First nod of approval suggests he's pleased. My assessment of the situation will decide if your advice is necessary. I think we've got everyone here. The woman who distributed the briefings greets you, her face adorned with a warm and kind smile. A pleasure to meet you. I'm Helene Soanite, a medic. Looking forward to working with you. We're heading into a pharmaceutical research lab this time. That's why we need an expert like Helene, who works for the pharmaceutical department at our HQ, to offer her knowledge. Helene frowns. Her voice sounds worried. I only hope this incident turns out to be a misunderstanding or a pure accident. I wish the same, though I have to say the chances look grim. Helene gives back a weak nod. Well, should I... It says first and dumb in my team, but that's not proper English. Shouldn't that be like first and dumbass in my team? And now a consultant jerk. What did I sign up for? A circus? The man keeps grumbling when glancing down from the corner of his eye at the reticent teammate next to him. Sitting beside him is a guy who has been maintaining his rifle. Shut up, Harkins. Bert isn't in the mood for the man's complaint. This is Harkins Brown, our IT support. I've also entrusted him with our data backup work since he seems to know all kinds of equipment well. While Bert is introducing, the man named Harkins mimics the movements while playing a piano with his fingers. I'm curious, dear consultant, what role do you believe you'll play within this team? Me? I'm an investigator. Investigate, deduct, conclude. It's as simple as that. Is it? Seems Harkins has no intent to leave a friendly first impression. There's no consequence without a course, and no course without a cause, Mr. Brown. And my humble work is to dig each one of them out before putting them back into the chain they belong. I discover truths, no matter what absurdity lies ahead of me. Sounds like those rich hags may be in greater need of your service than us. I mean, those hags who suspect their husband's loyalty. You're looking for a private detective? I don't dislike the idea of earning some extra. The man sitting next to Harkins keeps examining his gun. You watch as he disassembles the SMG with his deft hands before putting them back together in no time. Just call him O'Quill. He's responsible for weapon and fire support. The man holds the gun in his hand and pulls the safety lever to check if it's working. He takes notice of you, but soon returns to his business. Kinda got a little tongue-tied there for a second. So he's the dumb Harkins talked about. Seems more mute than dumb. Now you know each other. Go get your supplies at the side entrance. Now this one, actually, I remember, is not like the other previous modules we went through. This one is more of a text adventure than an exploration. Everyone dismissed. So yeah, it's more... We're given several text options and we can choose which one we want to do rather than moving across the physical map here. Jungle Camp. You realize you're the last to leave the camp. The campsite is nearly finished for your teammates to find their own comfortable corners around. Helene is still studying the documents. Atop a tree, Harkins is playing with the cards in his hands. O'Quill, only the other hand appears to be missing. But he's busy clearing other workers from the campsite reminds you a second time to get your supplies at the entrance of the site. Okay, so once we do something, we'll be able to unlock that option there. You done? Oh, we are most definitely not ready to move on yet. Bert doesn't say anything, but his furrowed brows do the talking for him. Anything I can help you with? The Graymatter site, anything you know about it? Graymatter, it's a site for special pharmaceutical experiments. For more specific information involving trade secrets, it's not appropriate for me to disclose too much to you. Is it possible that the incident has to do with the drug leakage? I cannot guarantee that won't occur, but it's my duty to safeguard the team from any harm. So please, have faith in me. I'm fully capable of protecting all of you. And I will. You arrive at the camp only to be told by the quartermaster that they don't have enough supplies for everyone, and each member now has to choose only 2 from the supplies to carry with them. Consider yourself lucky, says the indolent quartermaster as he snuffs out a gigantic mosquito, resting on his arm with a lighted cigarette between his fingers. I once went out to a mission with nothing but 2 energy bars in my backpack. The way he soothes his red swollen skin tells you he's not bothered the slightest by the burn. But do make sure you've made the right choice, investigator. You freeze at what you see when the quartermaster takes his hat off. What was concealed by his shadow now reveals swaths of burrowed scars, which you can only assume are the work of some ferocious predator's fangs. His bald-dented scalp seems to have been raked and torn up by unholy claws. Or you also fancy a face that even a mother can't love? His face distorts into what supposes to be a smile. I guess we'll take a weapon here, maybe. You take the weapon with you. No one can say what's hiding inside the sight, and you need to arm yourself. A pistol, a dagger, and a magazine. And we'll also take equipment here. You take the protective garb. Should there be a leakage in the lab, this would be your best defense against the peril. One second, let me really quickly just equip all my stuff here. Unfortunately, I don't really have enough spaces here, actually. I think leaving this one behind is the best plan we have here. Harkins remains focused on the cards he is playing, displaying no interest or attention toward you. As you approach, Harkins skillfully tosses the cards one by one, sending them spinning around you before magically returning to his hands. Then he offers you the shuffled deck, implying you take a draw. You take a card from the deck as he does the same. He's confirming an ace of hearts. Harkins proudly reveals his card to you. However, upon noticing the ace of spades in your hand, his expression reveals his dissatisfaction. You got lucky this time. Go ahead, I'm not gonna be a bitter loser. Spit it out. Oh, we actually had some stuff with Helene we could also talk about I forgot to do. Graymatter is a site for special pharmaceutical experiments. That's the kind of grivel Helene or Bird would feed you. The way I put it, Graymatter is no ordinary research lab like the rest of Blackfield's. Here, they carry out the experiments that they'll need to keep from the public, if you know what I mean. On Earth would an international corporation construct a site in this godforsaken jungle and scramble for an intervention the moment they received a distress call? It's clear as day that there's more to it than meets the eye. I may not have all the answers, but mark my words, their agenda here is anything but simple. Speaking of, have you taken a good look around the campsite? They got so many workers here and somehow decided to send only us a few down. Ever wondered why? I don't quite catch what you're saying. Well, they say small teams are good for mobility and cooperation. That I have no complaint about, but our sudden change of expression catches you off guard. Fewer people means fewer bodies to dump if they don't get what they... if they don't want to let what's out there get out, don't you agree? Think about it. Why haven't they equipped us with any massive or explosive weaponry? Doesn't it all point to a certain conclusion? Now think about it again. Didn't it sound like I was just teasing? Come on, you couldn't have fallen for it, right? Or did you? A sense of humor can't kill. Why so serious? That just reminds me of that stupid Joker meme, god damn it. You always need a bit of entertainment, don't you, investigator? Could you tell me more about everyone on the team? Take Bird, for example. In terms of a commander, Bird is among the cream of the crop. I've had a lot of successful investigations under his command. Though he might not look like it, Bird actually cares a lot about his members. Last time we lost someone on the team during a mission, and he was so buried by the guilt that he applied for a long leave to get himself back together. I didn't know we suffered a casualty before. No wonder they needed an investigator from outside here. What about Harkins? He's an expert in engineering, that much I'm sure of. He can answer your question in pretty much everything as long as it's related to computer science, or just anything that runs electricity. I, on the other hand, am a complete dork at it. I still can't tell one button from another when using a remote controller for air conditioners, and always end up switching it to heating mode on a hot day. I think it's safe to say that, as long as you have Harkins' trust, he won't be too harsh on you, theoretically. How much do you know about O'Quill? He's new to the team, just like you. I don't know much about him. What about you? Me? I don't have much to say for myself. I worked at one of Blackfield's labs as a doctor and researcher. Researcher? What were you working on? There is nothing I can tell you because of my confidential agreement. My apologies. You catch a flash of agony on her face. Alright, then let's go back and do Harkins' other option here. Fair inquisitive look tells me you're very curious about the team. Oh, no need to feel embarrassed, since you'll be wasting your next few hours with the gang. So, which poor fellow should we start from? What do you know about Bird? The guy's definitely not a man to trifle with, given that he used to serve the army. I mean, those kinds of soldiers who've actually fought for their country in wars, mind you. As a captain working for Blackfield, Bird has cleared many, if not the most missions with his team. Although I gotta say, I'd rather talk to a stone than to this hardhead. What about Helene? She's a good girl, who worked as a researcher under Blackfield until an accident broke out. As for the details, let's just say they've done a fine job in their confidential work. Still, I could dig it out for you as long as you have the right price. It's not going to be cheap, mind you. And who have we left on the list, Oakville? A dumb, that's what he is. I'm trying to think of what word they could be memeing here. I'm trying to think of a specific term, but I can't really think of it right now. What about you? In the records of Blackfield, they labeled me as an anarchist, a sociopath, a morally corrupt hacker, a drug addict, a gambler, and a tipster. What else do you want? This face makes clear his aversion to continuing the topic. Alright, now I think we might have unlocked. Here we go, we can talk about Harkins now. I'd like to ask something about Harkins. What is it? You raise your concern over Harkins as his conspiracy jokes. A few seconds of silence after, Bird passes a profile to you. A copy of Harkins' profile that is crammed with his research shows. With his records of violating information security regulations of the hacker and the damages he has to pay for the loss. It seems he was telling the truth on his sociopathic personality. His sentence was to make sure this manic... His sentence was to make sure this maniac would rot in prison. When Blackfield stepped in afterward, interested in his knowledge and IT skills, they bailed Harkins out and had him sign a guarantee to work as an investigator for them. No need to worry about him. Everyone with a long record in the team has a chip implanted inside them. Other than tracking these people down, it can also be activated for some corrective measures. He's gonna think twice before trying anything funny. Alright, and then I think we're ready to go in here. Rest time's over. Everyone, to me. You're now at the entrance with the rest of your team. The way Bird puts up his equipment tells you he's no stranger to such missions. Graymatter site is an underground research lab, which means we need to take the elevator to the research area below after getting inside. Everyone, keep an eye out on the surroundings. We're the first visitors after the silence occurs, so anything can happen. It doesn't take long before you find out you can't open the gate from the outside and you have to rely on Oakwill's saw cutter. After over 10 minutes of rumblings, he manages to tear a hole in the gate. Helene tosses a sensor unit through the rift and starts to check her panel. No signs of residual harmful gases, all indexed normal except the oxygen level being slightly below average. It's safe to get inside, I believe. You follow Bird as he squeezes through the opening. Darkness pervades inside and your strong torches barely blaze a meager trail ahead. The tilted passageway leads you to a room that's drenched by the scent of blood. Harkins, check if the lights are offline. Whoa, calm down, old man. I'm already checking them. It's not just the lights though, everything here is down. Can you fix that? No, not here. Bird pauses. Scatter and look for anything you think might help. I shall see you at the spot in 10, now dismissed. The team splits up at the command. You enter the room with the help of your flashlight, and its beam barely spans across the dusty air before leaving faint, diffused dapples of light on the other side. There's more than enough space for everyone on the team for their own inspection. Or their surreptitious movements, which they mean to keep to themselves. As for the moment, Helene seems to be occupied with the supplies at the corner of the room. Harkins sneaks inside the door that leads to what looks like a security room. O'Krill, on the other hand, makes his way to the innermost of the dark chamber. You walk inside the security room and find Harkins sitting on the floor there with his laptop on his thighs. The clicks coming from his keyboard take at your nerves. Have you found something? He glances at you briefly, his hands never leaving the keyboard, and makes no effort to respond to your question. Lines of code swiftly fill the computer screen, scrolling at an impressive pace. Your keen eye catches something particular among the sea of programming instructions. The gate of the site has remained sealed shut since a few hours before the emergency call was made. That means there have been no attempts to leave or access the site. In addition, another piece of information has suggested that the site procured a batch of unused weapons which are locked inside the storage. After verifying the codes, he managed to get the key to the sealed weapon kits. In the file cabinet adjacent to the computer, you find some signed receipts for material transfers. From these receipts, it seems evident that Graymatter receives a substantial influx of volunteers who willingly participate in undisclosed clinical tasks. Simultaneously, Graymatter engages in the transfer of test samples and unidentified personnel to other sites. Despite your thorough checking with Harkin's computer, no identity information can be found. Upon opening the chest by the wall, you discover nothing other than several ordinary supplies. As you examine the location of the chests and observe the scattered footprints surrounding them, it becomes evident that workers had been in the process of transferring their supplies when the accident occurred. It seems a sudden blackout has plunged the workers into a state of chaos. Owen catches your attention as you're about to leave. You approach her as she stands still, head down observing something inside a corner. It's a pool of blood. Such significant blood loss. Might be severe injuries or even arterial wound. In that case, they need to get immediate medical treatment or... Alertly, you lift the torch whose light follows the trail of blood to the depths of the room. The workers here have been ferried elsewhere, or at least it seems so. What's all this for? Let's save here really quickly. I don't want to progress too fast and then miss something. Okay, we wanted to follow the blood there first. You follow the trail of dried blood, it leads you to the elevator. As you approach, you notice O'Krill inspecting the ceiling with his flashlight in hand. As O'Will becomes aware of your presence, he promptly switches off his flashlight and redirects his attention to another area for inspection. Sometimes I wonder if the concrete walls here are more communicative than this guy. You turn your flashlight upward and see the pit-ornamented ceiling above you. There are more sinister marks in the bullet holes up the obscure ceiling. Ghastly slits gouge into the plaster as if some appalling beast made its way up there with its wicked claws. To conceive such an inhuman creature in your mind alone sends a shiver. The distinct blood trail tells a compelling story, clearly indicating that someone had been forcibly dragged inside the elevator. Also, the elevator gate has been riddled with bullet holes. You can tell from the scene that someone has shot at the gate. Could I be friction between the workers inside the lab? You rendezvous with your allies at the entrance. From their expression, every one of them seems to have something to share. Alright team, let's see what you found. No one opened the gate when the accident happened, at least not before us. Of course, they can always remove it from the log, so I don't want to jump the gun now. Evidence shows there's been casualties and massive blood loss, but we didn't find any bodies. Judging from the trails, they've transported all the workers who were on the watch via the elevator. Multiple bullet marks around the elevator doors. On the gate side, barely. An awkward silence pulls you back from your contemplation. It's your time. I spotted some claw marks on the walls next to the elevator. Claw marks, you say? You heard me right. My guess is some animal with quick limbs. Yeah, escaped experiment sample, virus leak, world crisis. Here, consultant, I've written the script so you don't have to. Good luck on the B film, cause its box office will suck for sure. Shut up, Harkin. A consultant has provided valuable information, unlike you. Speaking of, Harkins, you said you couldn't fix the power supply here. I take it that we can't use the elevator either? I looked into the circuit and the elevator seems to have built-in power supplies except for the freight one. Can't say anything about their safety, though. Everyone, recheck your weapons. This mission might not be as easy as we thought. You follow Bird to the elevator. Bird presses the elevator button. After a brief moment, the elevator slowly opens. As the door slides open, you find in terror how the blood trail outside seamlessly leads to the elevator car before coming to an abrupt end at a bloody footprint of unnatural size. A dead silence returns before Aquil's still voice breaks in. Over 6 feet 3 in height, judging from the footprint, around 5 in number. Everyone clasps their weapons with a tighter grip. There isn't any further dialogue. The team steps into the elevator, taking their positions as Bird selects the floor where the research center is located. The elevator begins its descent, carrying the team downstairs. That's when you sense something. You try to concentrate, attempting to grasp the fleeting thought. The low display on the control panel catches your attention. You gather your gaze upon the surrounding teammates and finally speak up. I don't think our total weight plus the equipment we're carrying theoretically add up to this figure on the panel. Almost at the same instant, Harkin starts doing the math. Right, 70, 80, 90, it's 90 kilos higher, which means we have another adult on the elevator. Everyone in the elevator car cocks their guns and trains them at the ceiling of the moving car before he finishes his sentence. Bert drops his equipment aside that falls to his knee right below the hatch before casting you an eye. You carefully position your foot on Bert's shoulder, and as he gradually elevates himself, the ceiling hatch draws nearer. When it's within reach, you spot a handprint stained with the dried blood on its surface. Taking a deep breath, you steady your nerves. You exert force to pry the hatch open, simultaneously readying your weapon to face whatever might be lurking beyond. There's no sign of a man or dead body atop the elevator car, but scant traces of blood and a black dagger stabbed into the plate. As you painstakingly dislodge it off, the blade grates, shrieking inside the gloomy shaft before the noise bounces back with a stench of decay, sending part of your mind drifting. After having Bird lower you down into the car, you present your team your findings. The dagger's design is antique, forged from a dark material that resembles the texture of mountain rock. You can find no seam or splice over the body, though it's veined with fine irregular fissures. You can tell its steel-like hardness and robustness by taking it in your hands. The sickening odor of blood coming from the blade gives you horrific wonders over its last master. After a ringing sound from the elevator, you're officially inside the Graymatter site. Darkness sends back the tardy echoes of your footsteps after they ripple to unseen boundaries as you step into the storage. With the help of your flashlight, you find the racks tipped over and blocking paths across the floor of this concave twice the size of a soccer field. The source of such chaos, however, lies beyond the reach of the device at your disposal. The floor plan guides you to the generators. They seem to be controlled by a panel. Fortunately, it's still working. Harkins unfolds his laptop again on his legs. He plugs the cable into the panel port before his hands dancing taps across the keyboard. There are only clicks and occasional staccatos of the enter key as the team wait patiently. Okay, there we go. He points to Helene, the task he reads out with a smug look on his face. Amidst the roar of the power supply equipment, the lights on the ceiling start to flicker erratically. Darkness and light alternate rapidly, creating a disorienting effect as you are continuously shifting between two distinct dimensions. The pendulum of fate seems to hover on the brighter side. We're going to equip our black dagger here. Oh, excuse me there. A massive storage area comes into view. Seems a significant collapse has occurred at its center. The impact has caused numerous containers to topple and scatter in the direction of the collapse. The whole area is like a chaotic storm of various items and debris. The closer one approaches to the center, the more chaotic the surroundings become. Bird seems to be looking at something in the storage through those binoculars. We act in pairs now. Helene will come with me, O'Quill, find a high ground, Harkins, you take your partner with you to the other side and start there. Remember, if anything happens, give a signal shot. Before Harkins can spit out a word of complaint, Bird disappears into the tunnel with Helene following behind. O'Quill, still not having much to say, finds his path on the high ground, leaving you two at the place. So it's only you and me, dear consultant. I don't know how I feel about being left alone with Harkins. This guy seems dangerous. I want to tie my odds there, so please don't mind me. You do whatever suits yourself. He doesn't bother to wait for your response before hacking a storage room open and walking straight in. Judging from the appearance of the storage chests, they may contain weapons and equipment. Additionally, the documents affixed to the outside of the chest bears the signature of a manager named Monto. As he crouched down to carefully inspect the chests, he recalled the information that they contain new weapons and equipment for the Graymatter site. With a key you discovered in the security room, you unlock these chests and take several handy pieces with you. Got an EMP grenade. This reminds me, this is the first time we're actually wearing armor in this game. The first thing you notice is Harkins, who sneaked in ahead of you, meticulously pulling out each drawer of the shelf, leaving none unchecked. Anything that seems to hold some value finds its new home in his pocket, while those that don't pile up at its feet. You see a crime of theft happening right before you. You acquiesce his behavior with your silence. With a grin on his face, Harkins unintentionally drops the precious pocket watch into your patch pocket. Finders keepers, dear consultant, and together we found the treasures here. You know what I mean, right? Speed box 10, that's pretty interesting. Seems Harkins has no intent to join you. In fact, he may not be coming out of the storage room anytime soon, which means you have to explore this place alone. The passage is obscured by collapsed shelves and scattered supplies. You have no option but to press on, carefully navigating this confined path. You finally join Bird and the rest at a turn in the corridor. Where's Harkins? Don't tell me he's on his own again. Red forcefully opens the walkie-talkie and bellows with anger, his voice reverberating through its speakers. Get your ass here, Harkins. If that ever happens again, I swear you'll rot in that godforsaken cell. Come on, bro, just a few seconds. I'll be with you in no time. Their attention is abruptly drawn to the presence lurking behind the chest. You witness the figure gradually rising to its feet, shrouded in darkness. It's a black monster standing menacingly on all four legs. As you raise your weapon against the murky silhouette, it erupts into a tall leap before lunging toward you. One second here. I want to check what the other option would have done there. Let me really quickly shuffle my stuff around here again. And we're actually going to save over storage here, or well, we're gonna make a new one here. You've made your way into a storage cabinet. This is the best observation spot around the collapsed area. Ever since you step into the site, the oppressive atmosphere seems to weigh down upon you. Your breathing feels labored, your eyes grow dry, and okay, that's my bad. I should have scrolled there, I didn't. I guess I just wasn't thinking. Okay, never mind, you just can't scroll there. You force several breaths of cold air into your restless chest, compelling your screaming consciousness to plunge back into numb calmness. Calmness, and survey the surroundings. You notice how the massive fall that's formed due to the devastating earthquake. The corridor area below is in complete disarray. The narrow passage is formed where there used to be at the corner of the wall with rubble and debris. As the beam from your flashlight pierces into the darkness of the tunnel, you notice a shadowy figure crouching on the ground and refusing all the light. Hesitation takes hold of you as you ponder about your next move. Before the unholy shade springs upright at all four of its limbs, bearing not a trace of resemblance to any human form, it sends your mind into delirious terror. The shadow dashes at you, toppling multiple supporting slabs along its path. With the pillars compromised, the tunnel convulses violently, echoing with a foreboding rumble and threatening to bury everything in its second collapse. At this point, turning back is not an option. You roll into the tunnel. With the help of your agility, you manage to avoid any harm. Just as you start to breathe a sigh of relief, the black beast once again emerges from the shadow into your line of sight. You notice how wounds and openings are of different sizes mar its form. Seems like it wasn't invulnerable to the collapse. The next second, the monster heaves in a rumble that befits a vengeful beast and charges right at you. As you approach the corpse, you discover the monster's face is grotesquely swollen with thick black blood. After a moment of hesitation, you retrieve a knife from your possession before lifting the broken skin of the monster's chin with care. The sound of the moist skin separating fills the air, evoking a sense of unease and revulsion. You now see its face. The facial bones of the monster bear an uncanny resemblance to those of humans. Within its eye sockets, the eyes continuously leak black pus, oozing forth in disconcerting display. The eyes of the monster lack any trace of white, engrossing the entire eye socket in a never-ending void. Regardless of your movements, a disconcerting Sensation lingers as if those eyes are constantly fixated upon you. As you focus your gaze on them, the eyeballs detach from their sockets and roll to the ground themselves. Compelled by an inexplicable urge, you cautiously pick up the fallen eyeballs and examine them closely. Upon closer inspection, these eyeballs seem not to be composed of organic matter as one would expect. They're more likely to be made of stone? Your eyes catch a trace of familiarity as you inspect the eyeball. Marmoreal texture. The dagger. Your trembling hand reaches for your pocket and draws out the knife. A nameless terror freezes you as their identity seizes your mind. Alright, well, that's where we're gonna leave it off for now. We'll continue off here and reconvene with our teammates next time, but until then, that's where we're gonna end this video. So, this has been Chylli from Channel Chylli, and I'll see you next time when we continue with more depersonalization. Until then, bye!